DreAllDay.com.
Your whole life just improves significantly because you are in tune to the show, where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, the go-getter energy that moves you, me, and anyone else to make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. Putting all this together, you get the mindset, the method, the podcast known as work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and today's topic, talking to the business audience here, the freelancers, the solopreneurs, the small business owners, any of you who is dealing with clients. If clients are any percentage of your business, that's who we're talking to here today. Now, we talked about this mix of how you're gonna put your business together, and I talked about this probably early in the podcast, maybe within the first 100 or 200 episodes. You can go to the archive at DreAllDay.com/podcast to find that episode, or you can get in a game group where I have the episodes organized by category, so you won't have to go do all that digging. But when it comes to having clients in business, I'm not completely against it. You know, I've talked about it, having clients, and how some of you want to get out of that rat race maybe of having to chase down clients or go looking for clients, and you can't eat until you kill something, so to speak, getting yourself a client. But having clients is a good thing in business, even if you are a person who creates a lot of content like myself, or you sell products like myself, and I'm sure some of you also do. Having clients is like having your feet on the ground, boots on the ground, or having your ear to the streets. You know what's going on. You know what challenges people have when you have clients, because they're giving you their challenges and bringing them to you directly. Then you can use what you learn from dealing with those clients to create your content and to create your products. And those clients don't necessarily have to be people who pay you. They can be people who send you emails, or people who send you DMs and ask you questions, or people who send you private snaps and ask you, hey, can you help me with this challenge? Or they let you know what's going on that you may be able to help with for whatever reason. They think you're a person who may be a solution. So your client doesn't necessarily have to be the person that's paying you, but what we're talking about here is dealing with people who are coming to you, or you're coming to them and selling them on the idea of you being the expert or the person who has the information on a certain topic. And I want to make sure I'm being clear when I'm using this term expert. The only thing that makes you an expert is not if you've done a certain number of speeches, or you make a certain amount of money, or that you got a certain quality of business card, or how many hits you get to your website, or how much content you put out, or how many followers you have. None of those things makes you an expert. All right, the only thing that makes you an expert, ladies and gentlemen, is that you have more information, experience, or knowledge than the person you're talking to. That's what makes you an expert. Therefore, you could have just started taking tennis lessons 30 days ago, but if you get on a tennis court with me and I've taken 0 tennis lessons, you are a tennis expert when you're talking to me. Now, if you get on a court with, I don't know, Serena Williams and Venus Williams, then they're the experts. You go from being the expert to being the amateur, or being the student. So expert is relative. Expertise is relative to whom you are speaking to. Now, when you're in a room with people who don't know what you know, they don't have your knowledge and experience, you're an expert to those people. So those of you, and this is a different topic that could be a whole different episode, if you're brand new in an area, you're brand new at, let's say, as far as establishing your expertise in the marketplace, but you look around and you see other people who have been around way longer than you, they're way ahead of you, they have way more accomplishments / achievements, they got a longer resume than you. That doesn't mean that you are unqualified to be an expert. It definitely doesn't mean you're unqualified to put yourself out there. It just means that you're going to have an audience that's different from their audience. They may have a wider net, so to speak, for their audience, simply because they maybe know more than the more that you know, and they've been around longer, so they probably have more experience than the experience that you have. But you can still be an expert to an audience of people, and you may be able to grab some of their audience, because that person who's been around way longer and has a way bigger audience may not be able to give as much intimate one-on-one, or allow people to get as close to them as you could allow people to get to you, simply because you're newer, you don't have as many clients, and maybe you could charge a little bit less. This will attract certain people. So understand, again, expertise is flexible, depends on who you're talking to. That's not even the subject of today's topic, but I wanted to make sure I put that out there. But the topic here today is how to grow a client base. Now, I came up with this topic because when I was looking through the responses to the podcast survey that I put out late in 2018, and it was still active into 2019, a lot of people were asking about this, how to grow a client base, or how to get more clients, or how do you serve your clients something with that word client in it. And you've seen and heard rather me talk about client-based business or dealing with clients several times over the last couple of weeks. Now, a lot of industries such as the coaching industry, I'm not talking sports coaching, but business coaching, life coaching, being a psychiatrist or a psychologist, therapist, all of those that's the coaching industry that I'm saying here. The training, any type of training that you do, whether that could be an athletic trainer, you could be a business trainer, you could be some type of software trainer, consulting, anything where people are paying money to you regularly or paying for a certain period of time to get your goods and services. This is all client-based business. And the disclaimer that I'm sharing here is, even though the area that this podcast I talk about every single day is discipline, confidence, mental toughness, personal initiative, I'm not the world's best, I would say, on this subject of the client-based thing. There are people out there who talk about clients, they deal with clients more often. Maybe 100% of their business is client-based. 100% of my business is not client-based. Okay, as you already know, I make content, I make products, I have a membership site, and I deal with clients. It's part of what I do. I may not be the best in the world at maybe any subject that I talk about. It's possible. I mean, again, because best is a relative term as well, just like expertise is. But I'm going to share some things that I do know about acquiring clients, maintaining clients, and building your business, and at least in some part around clients, and some resources that I think you should consult on your own. I have some resources that you should go and peruse, read, listen to, watch, consume whatever way in as much depth as you choose, based on my recommendation. A couple people I'm gonna give you later on in this episode. So let's get right into point number one. Today's topic is how to grow a client base. You want more clients in your business. You want some clients because you don't have any. You want more because you got a lot. You want better clients. You got a bunch, but you don't really like them. Today we're gonna talk about growing a client base. Number one, decide whom you're here to help. Who do you actually want as a client? Who are the people that you want to serve? See, if my back hurts, I prefer the chiropractor over the general practitioner. And why is that? It's because the chiropractor specializes in what I need. So many client seekers challenge, I'm sharing that to explain to you that many people who want to get clients, the reason why it's been so hard for you to acquire clients is because you're trying to serve too many people. You're too general in what you're doing, and you're creating a pool that is a little bit too wide but not deep enough, or you're casting a net that's very wide but it's not deep, so you're not catching anything. So you have to make what you'll see at first as maybe a sacrifice and maybe kind of scary and anxiety inducing to you, to narrow down your area of expertise, or narrow down who you're trying to help, or narrow down the message that you're putting out there, because now you're saying, damn, well, there's a whole bunch of people who could fit into this, who could fit into who I can help, but now that I'm going to specialize in this, I may exclude those people. Those people may not look to me anymore because I'm not calling out the thing that they do, and that's all right. It's all right, because you're going to get, first of all, more people will come to the specialists. Again, the chiropractor over the general practitioner if your back is hurting, the podiatrist over the general practitioner if your foot is hurting. We'd rather go to the person who specializes in the exact thing that we have a need for, and then once you engage with that person, you may find, oh, they know this thing too. Oh, they can do this thing too. Oh, I can get some information about this while I'm here as well. But you need to figure out what that focus area is going to be for you, because you're going to get better clients because they know that you're a specialist. Therefore, they will come in already predisposed and understanding that's going to cost them a little bit more money, that you're going to be a little bit better. And here's the thing about human psychology, and this works for all of us and will work in our favor, and it works within us when we're the customer, is that when we walk into the room with the coach, with the consultant, the trainer, the doctor, whoever, the higher our expectation of that person, or the better that we already believe they are before we even deal with that person, before we shake their hands and meet them for the first time, the better we're going to feel at the end of the experience, no matter what that person actually did. Right? People come in predisposed to like you or predisposed to not like you. Very few people walk into situations completely 100% objective. Even though we all claim to be many times, or we all want to be often, most of the time we come in with some idea, I'm not going to like this, or I am going to like this. We predetermine how we're going to feel about certain situations before we even get into the situation. Now, you as a salesperson, you can help to color, to determine that how people are predisposed to feel about you before they even get there. But that's a whole different conversation. That is something that you can control. You can read, actually, I'll just tell you, read Robert Cialdini's book called Influence. And the second book, another book that he wrote, I think is only his second book, was called, I believe it's called Persuasion. So read both of those books. They are both thick books, long books, but they are very in-depth, and they have been recognized by many people, including myself, as the cornerstones of those two topics, influence and persuasion. You want to know about? No, it's called Persuasion, I believe is the name of the book. So read both of those books. Again, the author Robert Cialdini, Cialdini. You can find it. You know how to use Google. Many client seekers challenge. Back to point number one here. Trying to serve too many people. You're creating a pool that is very wide but not deep. So it's like one of those wading pools. You ever seen those wading pools? The water only goes like 2 feet deep. It looks nice, so you can get in and walk around and get your feet wet, maybe get your shins wet and your ankles wet, but you can't swim in it because the water's not deep enough. You couldn't even do a full stroke with your arm. You're gonna bang your wrist on the concrete at the bottom of the pool. It's one of those kind of pools. All right, that pool is cool and it looks good, but it's not gonna attract too many swimmers. All right, if you want the Michael Phelpses of the world to jump in your pool, you gotta go deep. You need some deep water that they can actually dive in and swim. You know how when the swimmers dive in the water in the Olympics and they don't even start swimming yet. I don't even know what they call that. Somebody can help me out and tell me what they call it. When they dive in and they have their arms by their sides and they're using their legs are moving. So they're like moving forward in the water, and then they go into their stroke after they already been covered like 20% of the pool. I don't know what they call that, but that's the thing. But if you want somebody to be able to do that in your pool, the water gotta be deep. That's the point that I'm making. Point number two. So what I'm saying here in point number one, in case I wasn't making it clear, I think I did, but in case I didn't, specialize. What is your specialty? Who specifically do you want to help? You need to figure that out. Start targeting those people. There are plenty of them. There are 8 billion people on the planet, and our population is rising every single day. It's not getting smaller, it's rising. So if you're concerned about not having enough people to reach, that concern is completely unfounded. Logically, go on Wikipedia. You can see how many people there are on the planet. All right, you're not running out of people to talk to. Point number two. Today's topic is how to grow a client base or improve your client base if you already have clients. Decide how much work you want to be doing. This is an important question when you have a whole lot of clients in your business, or your business is a large chunk of your business is based on clients. Because as I talked about a few episodes back when we were talking about client-based businesses, the better you do when you have clients in your business, the less time you have, because you got more and more people coming to your office, or more people that you have to train at the gym, or more people who want you to come give them a private one-on-one session, or more people who want to talk to you for a perspective conversation where you might have them sign up as a client. And then the better you are at signing people up, the less time you have. Maybe you'll be making more money, but what's the purpose of us being alive? It's not just to make money, because at some point we want to enjoy the money. You can buy a nice house or a nice car, but you can't drive it because you're always in the office working. I mean, what's the point of having a nice car and making all that money for it? So decide how much work you actually want to be doing. In other words, what is your enough? And I got this idea from a specific person. I'll mention him at the end of today's episode. He told me this personally, but the point that I'm making here, how much work do you want to be doing? In other words, how many hours do you want to work a week? What days do you want to have off? Like, what do you want to do with your life? I mean, do you have children? Do you have a significant other? Do you plan on having children and or a significant other? Do you want to spend more time with your extended family, or with your immediate family, or your immediate family, maybe mother, father, brothers, sisters, or husband, wife, daughters, sons, etc., cousins, friends? What do you want to do? Do you want to travel? Do you want to go to Disney World once a year? Do you want to take a month of vacation every year? Do you want to travel to somewhere new each year with your friends or with a significant other? How much time do you actually want to spend working? And how much time do you want to actually spend living? That's a good one right there. That's a good quote right there. Somebody tweets that to me, at Dre all day, I'll retweet you. How much time do you, and make sure you include the link to today's episode. How much time do you want to spend working, and how much time do you want to spend living? That's the question that you need to ask yourself up front. Now, I know some of you, it's too late to ask this question up front because you're already deep in your business, maybe knee deep in clients that maybe you don't like, clients that maybe are not paying you enough money, so you feel like you're running on a treadmill, sprinting on a treadmill, but you're not getting anywhere. I know that it may be too late to ask you this question up front, but you can still ask yourself the question: how much work do I actually want to be doing? How much living do I actually want to be doing? The reason that you ask this question is so that you can look at your business, see how far over the line you are. So let's say, for example, you decide, I want to work 40 hours a week. You decide that. We'll use round numbers to keep it simple. But right now, you look at your schedule and you're working 80 hours a week. So you're working twice as much as you actually want to be working. But you decided you want to work 40, so you had time to live a damn life, okay? And you can pick any number you want. You want to work 10 hours a week? You want to work a 4-hour work week? Whatever you want to do. It's your life. You choose what you want to do with it. But first of all, decide how much you want to work, and then ask yourself, okay, Based on the lifestyle that I want to live, you can use your goals list, because you have your goals written down somewhere, right? You can use your goals list as a frame of reference. How much money do I need to make to live the way that I want to live? All right, factoring in for whatever expenses, the taxes, maybe unforeseen circumstances. Factor all those things in. How much money do I actually need to be making? Once you get that number, now divide that number by the number of hours you want to work. So if you decide that I want to make, we can keep this really simple. You want to make 40, say you decide you need $40 million a year. All right, 400,000, 40,000, whatever. You need $400 million a year. You want to work 40 hours a week. That means you need to make $1 million an hour. Now to make $1 million an hour, that means every one of those clients that you have need to be paying you a certain amount. If you got 40 clients, and right now they're paying you $100 an hour, that means you need to get clients who will pay you $1 million, or get those clients to pay you $1 million. Probably won't be them. You need to replace each one of those clients that'll pay you $1 million. Now, again, this is just a rough example, and maybe those numbers aren't, quote unquote realistic for you, but I tell you something, there are people out there who are making it. That's a different conversation as well. But what I'm trying to help you understand here is that you need to ask yourself these logical questions so you can work backwards and figure out, what exactly am I doing here? Where exactly am I going? How much do I want to work? How much do I want to make? That tells you how much you need to be making each hour. And then you can look at what you're doing right now and ask yourself, where am I making this? Where am I not making it? Where can I improve it? What do I need to get rid of? And what kind of work do I need to do to get myself to the level that I need to get to if you're not there already? Now in the game group, I talk about, in point number 1, I told you about casting a more strategic and more narrow net. In the game group, I talk about working from the inside out. The whole inside out method is something that I've been talking about for a while, especially as the world has changed so fast, especially the business world, where it used to be you could just do a whole bunch of reaching out to other people, reach out, and you could build your name and likeness and brand, or whatever you want to call it, through that, just by being out there in other people's faces, on other people's stuff. The problem is there are so many people doing it now, and so many people have their own stuff. You got to build yourself up to something now. You got to start on the inside, then go to the outside. And that's something that I teach directly, strategically, not just giving you a bunch of information and tips, but strategically teach that in the game group, which you can learn about. We'll talk about that later. So point number 2 here is decide what you want to be doing. What is your enough? How do you know when you made enough money? How do you know when you have enough clients? How do you know when you filled up your schedule with enough work that it's time to stop working? You need to have answers to these questions. Otherwise, you're going to work yourself to death. Any of you ever felt like you were working yourself to death? Any of you feel like, as you're listening to this episode right now, you may be on your way to work, you may be at work, you may be just coming from work, you may be on your day off, but you can't stop thinking about work because you got so much of it to do. You feel like you're working yourself to death, that you're just working. You don't have much of a life, you're making money, but you're like, what the hell am I doing this for? I know there are some people out there feeling that way. Maybe they're listening, maybe they're not. You don't want to get so deep into client work that you don't have time left over for actually living. In America, for those of you who don't live in the United States, I know that in damn near every country outside of the United States, and I've known people from many countries, that you all, non-USA people, you work to live. That means life is the basis of what you're doing. Work is just something that you have, is a necessary evil that you endure so that you make enough money and can fund the life that you want to live. You do the work just to get to the life. All right, work is just a means to the end for almost anyone who's from any country other than the United States, and y'all can tell me if I got this wrong. Any of you who's not from the USA, was not born or raised in the USA, or you don't live in the USA, or you spend some time outside of the USA with people, they probably even told you this, or you probably have seen it, felt it yourself if you travel often. You work just to get to the end of actually living life. Life is not based around just work just for the sake of working. Now here in America, we live to work. The reason that we have a life is so we can get back to work. All right, let's get through this weekend so we can get back to work. Sundays, some people can't even enjoy Sundays. Some people in America can't enjoy Sunday because they know what looms on Monday. You know, in America they have, I think America might be the only place in the world where they have happy hour at a bar. I don't know this one for a fact. All right, I don't frequent bars, but this one, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I believe this to be true. If I'm wrong, somebody let me know. Okay, I think America is the only place in the world where they have happy hour at a bar. You know what happy hour is? Happy hour is the hour that right after you got off work, so you can be happy again. All right, so I don't know what they call it, the hours when you're at work, but it ain't happy. All right, so we need an hour, that we need to designate an hour All right, as soon as you get done working, so you can be happy and be, enjoy life again. Isn't that crazy? We in America live, so living is just the means to the end of us getting back to work. Working why? So I can make more money. Why? So I can get the car and the house that I want. Why? So I can enjoy myself. Why? So I can live life. You're going right, it's going around in a circle. There's a parable out there that goes even deeper than that. If any of you knows what it is, send it to me, because I love that parable. I'm not gonna try to explain it here, I don't have it in front of me. It's just something that I thought of, riffing off the top as I'm talking here on this topic. But the question is, what is your enough? You don't want to get so deep in client work that you don't have time left over for life. How many clients do you want to have at one time? And this is another question that you can ask yourself, because you may have this equation in such a way that you say, okay, I want to make X number of dollars a year, right? But that would require me having 25 clients. And if I give this much time to each client and I meet with each client each week, this doesn't work. This doesn't work, Dre. This doesn't fit the equation. So that means you need to change some things in that equation. Maybe you can charge each client more money, which is going to weed some clients out. Maybe you can come up with a way to serve multiple clients at the same time without giving up more of your personal time and giving up your physical presence in order to serve those clients. There's a lot of different ideas that you can employ to still make the money that you want to make without, technically you don't have to lose any clients. Maybe you will lose some clients, but there are a lot of options that you have. All right, and in the game group membership, in the business section, all of these things we're going into in depth strategically so you can understand what your options are if your business is, or at least certain percentage of your business is based on clients. How many clients you want to have at one time? How often do you want to take on new clients? What requirements must be met for someone to become your client? That's a good question right there. Maybe you don't have any requirements right now. But there's a gentleman that I mentioned, I was going to mention him later. Also, I heard this from him. He has requirements. If someone wants to be his client, someone wants to join his group, somebody wants to take his course, he has requirements that you must pass in order to buy his stuff. Isn't that great? I like that idea. But these clear parameters, the thing about these clear parameters, that you may think that these questions are silly, you may think they're too over the top, maybe you think you can't even employ them because right now you only got one client and you're trying to get to your second client. You're like, Dre, there's no way I can add any barriers to entry. Listen, I'm trying to make it easier and easier for somebody to pay me money. But understand that these clear parameters will help you focus your efforts. And again, remember that there are 8 billion people on this planet. Maybe 1,000 of them. There's plenty of opportunity out there in the world for you, even if it's not with the people who, only the people that you can see in front of you. Point number 3. Today's topic is how to get more clients in your business, or better clients in your business. Start giving mass sessions. This is a way to have more clients, but not chewing up more and more of your time. You don't have to trade your time for clients. In other words, long form podcasts, like what you're listening to right now. Something that you can sell, or something that you have only for people who are under a certain membership, or people who are paying a certain amount of money. For example, in the game group, we have premium member-only podcast episodes that won't be on this feed. If you're not a member, you'll never hear those podcasts. YouTube videos, webinars, getting yourself interviewed. These are all ways that you are giving mass sessions to an audience of clients. They could be clients who pay you, such as people in the membership. They could be your subscribers to a YouTube channel, your subscribers to your podcast, people who signed up for your free webinar. They are clients, because the definition of client is someone who's under the care of. They're under your care because they are trusting you to have the right information. They're trusting you to have a strategy. They're trusting you to tell them what's the next thing that they need to do. That makes them a client, whether they're paying you or not. So these are all ways that you can give a mass session to a bunch of people at the same time. Write a report and give it away on your website. Write a blog post. In other words, give people a taste of what it would be like to work with you, even if they're not directly working with you. And a big enough taste that they know for sure what it is and that they want to get more of it. So giving mass sessions, in other words, creating content. And this could be content, again, that you put out there for free for public consumption. It could be content that you put behind some type of barrier, such as give me your email address, then you get the client, or then you get the content rather, or give me $5 and then you get in my membership, or give me $1 million and then you can have me one-on-one for 10 years, or whatever it's going to be. But give mass sessions so people can get a taste of what you do, and then they'll know that they want to go a little bit further. Point number 4, and I'm going to give you some resources. There are 2 specific individuals that I want to point out here who have really good information. I listen to these people, mostly listen to and read these people. They don't do that much video on these subjects of client-based business, or getting more clients, getting better clients, figuring out your parameters, having a clear focus on what you're doing when it comes to your business. One of them is named Seth Godin. Now Seth, if you read my book, Work on Your Game, at least if you got the hard copy version, you see Seth's blurb right on the cover of the book, right there at the top. Now Seth has written, last time I checked, it was 18 books, might be more than that, but he is a legend in the marketing industry. His expertise is, I mean, the guy writes a blog post. He's written more blog posts than me. I think he's the only person I know who's written more blog posts than me. He puts a new post out every day, very short, always pithy, always straight to the point, always great information that makes you think, the kind of stuff that challenges you to think. So his audience is gonna be people who want to think, audience of people who want to do better, want to do more. He's a legend in the game. He wrote a book called This Is Marketing, and I might have mentioned it in my latest favorite books episode, but if I didn't, you should still read it. And you can get a link to it at dreallday.com/read. That's my full reading list. But he gives great explanations on building a base of clients, building a base of customers, getting trust with your clients and maintaining that trust. Because if people don't trust you, even if they bought from you once, they're not gonna buy from you again. And I won't bother telling you everything that he said. Go read the book yourself, invest in yourself, and get that information. Now there's another guy, and Seth is mostly through written material. So if you want to learn from Seth, he has done plenty of interviews and he's been on other people's podcasts. So if you just Google him, you can hear him on other people's stuff. But for the most part, Seth's own material is mostly written content. So you can go find his website. And again, he has like 18 books. So go get the reading. The other person who has a podcast, his name is Sean D'Souza. And he has a podcast called The 3-Month Vacation. Now Sean is, I believe his heritage is Indian, but he lives in New Zealand. And the 3-month vacation is called that because he and his wife, Sean and his wife, they take 3 months of vacation every single year. And Sean's the guy from whom I got this idea of enough. What is your enough in business? And I actually communicated with Sean. I was asking him some questions about business, and one of the first things he said back to me was, Dre, what's your enough? You need to figure out when you've gotten to the point that you're good, so that you're not always like, all right, I gotta do more, I gotta do better, I gotta go further, I gotta make more money, I gotta get more clients, I gotta sell more products. When are you like, okay, this is where I need to be, let's just focus on doing our best at this spot here so we don't have to keep striving and pushing and pushing and pushing, feel like we're always running, never get a chance to actually relax and enjoy life. And it goes right along with, coincidentally, the point that I made earlier, that us Americans, we live to work, while everyone else outside of America, they work to live. And even if you make a whole lot of money, you can still work to live. So Sean D'Souza, the 3-Month Vacation podcast, his podcast has been around for a while. So there's a lot of episodes. I'm still actually catching up on their back catalog. I started from the very first episode, and I think they're 300 some episodes in. So I started from the very beginning. And his episodes are about the length of these ones, about 20 to 30 minutes each, and it's just him talking. He has music, the music production in the background is great. Very informative stuff regarding branding, selling, business building, dealing with clients, creating products, creating content, writing. Sean is really good, really on point with his stuff. So you can go to his podcast and sample the product all you want. He has a website with and he'll tell you about his website right there on his podcast with plenty of other goodies and information you can jump into at your leisure. So Sean D'Souza and Seth Godin are those 2 resources that I want to point you to. Let's recap today's topic, which is how to grow, improve, maintain your client base. Now, a lot of industries out there, we're talking coaching, training, consulting, anywhere people are paying regularly or pay on it for an extended period of time with your goods and services. Point number 1, decide who you're here to help. If my back hurts, then I'd rather go to the chiropractor than the general practitioner, right? Why? Because the chiropractor specializes in a specific area in which I need help. Now, is the chiropractor maybe good working with people's feet or working with people's broken bones or working at fixing people's faces too? Maybe, but the chiropractor has decided to exclude those things to focus specifically on people with hurt backs. Why? Because number 1, anytime somebody has a hurt back, they're going to look up the chiropractor rather than a general practitioner. And number 2, there are plenty of people out there with injured backs. So there's plenty of market for the chiropractor. You don't need to be a general practitioner because you think that gives you the most opportunity to help the most people. Listen, there are plenty of people with hurt backs who would just as quickly call you that will never look up the general practitioner. So don't have this scarcity mindset of I got to get to everybody, because listen, you will never get to everybody. And secondly, as a consumer, think about when you're on the other side of the equation. Wouldn't you rather go to the person who specializes in a specific thing that you need rather than a generalist who's doing a bunch of things all at the same time? Of course you would. And in the game group, we talk about working from the inside out. And I'll explain to you in the membership exactly what that is. Point number 2, decide how much work you actually want to be doing. What is your enough? How much time is enough? How much money is enough? What kind of life do you want to live? You don't want to be so deep in client work that you don't have time left over to actually live a damn life. How many clients do you want to have at once? How often are you taking on new clients? You want to have any barriers to entry for clients? You may think this is silly because you're just trying to get your first client, but these clear parameters will help you focus your efforts. Point number 3, start giving mass sessions, whether they are paid or unpaid. A podcast is a mass session. I'm talking to 1,000 people right now all at the same time. That's a mass session. Put out a YouTube video. And once you put it out, it's going to be there forever. People can come follow it. I got videos on YouTube that have been viewed 1 million times. I didn't have to meet not one of those 1 million people. That's a mass session where you're sharing your expertise, sharing your information, or whatever it is that you want them to know. Start doing that so you can multiply your efforts. Write a report, give it away on your website. Give people a taste of what it's like to work with you or learn from you, and a big enough taste that they know for sure what it is and that they'll want more of it. So again, don't be stingy with it. Don't make just a 5-minute podcast episode because you don't want to give away everything for free, because somebody else will give away exactly what you didn't give away for free and just take everything from right over the top of your head. Point number 4. 2 resources. Seth Godin, he's written a bunch of books. He is a marketing genius, a legend in the marketing industry. His last book is called This Is Marketing. Look that up and look up all his other books. Read those. Go find the interviews that he's done on other people's podcasts. Seth actually has a podcast of his own. It slipped my mind as I was talking about this. It's called Akimbo, Akimbo. Just look up Seth Godin. You can find it. You know how to use the internet. The other guy is Sean D'Souza. His podcast is called The 3-Month Vacation. His website is called psychotactics.com. Go look it up. Very informative stuff regarding branding, selling, business building, memberships, creating products, creating a website, branding yourself, a whole lot of stuff that a lot of you who are your business is client-based in any way, or product-based or content-based. Sean gets deep into the details of exactly how he does those things. He has plenty of products offer, also at a price that I know anybody who's listening to this can afford. That's it. That's all. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com. Nobody out there needs more information. What you need these days is a strategy, frameworks, processes, how to actually take all the information that's out there, all the knowledge and content that's out there, make sense of it, and actually produce a result, a tangible result. That's why I created the Game Group. It is my membership site where you will get tangible results for specific areas: business, personal development, basketball skill, and professional basketball. Choose your area of focus, and we have targeted, specified outcomes every single month, along with live trainings, the ability to contact me, have your work critiqued by me, and a whole lot of other stuff. The link and all the information is down in the description at DreAllDay.com/membership. Get in the Game Group if you're ready to get some results and not just a whole bunch of information. Let's do it. Work on your game.